welcome if you're new, welcome back if you've been here before. I thought this month I would film a sort of two-parter. I wanted to film an anticipated September reads because there are so many good books coming out in September, and then I thought I'd talk about what's on my TBR, because even though there's so many good books coming out in September, there are other books that I know I need to prioritize for the month of September. So let's get into it. Coming out in September, first book is coming out on the 2nd of September, and that book is called Burn Bright. And Burn Bright is by Krista Ritchie and Becca Ritchie. And if you see me looking to the side, it's because I've got like everything on my computer screen over here and I don't want to make a mistake. This is book 1 in the Cobalt Empire. So this is a new series. I'm in the middle of reading the Addicted Calloway series at the moment, so I'm really excited that I'm hoping that I can pick this up like in the month of September sometime. So this is about Ben Cobalt, and he is like the black sheep of this American so-called royalty, which is a family that we meet in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. And he's pretty much trying to survive college in New York. He's got these 4 older brothers, but he's hiding a massive secret, and sparks basically fly when he meets this like punk rock girl, and she's like the grumpy. She has already crossed his path before, and it's pretty much like a forbidden attraction type book. And I think the cover is really pretty. It might not be something that I would typically pick up off the shelf and recognize it as like my kind of book, but I am really intrigued by this one. The next book coming out is also coming out on the 2nd of September, and that is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Now this is a prequel, I believe. It's in the Letters of Enchantment series, which is your Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, which I've read both of those, and I 4-starred both of those. And I think this is a prequel, so it's in the fantasy, romantasy, sort of romance, YA world, and it's about Matilda, and she is the youngest goddess of the Underrealm, and she's got sort of like a dangerous secret, and she's hiding, which is that not every plot point of a fantasy. She's trying to navigate the world of cutthroat gods, and fate ties her to Vincent, who is a mortal boy who has dreamed of her, basically. She crashes back into his life a decade later, and they have like a reunion pretty much, and it's meant to be a story of love, of survival, and defying the gods. So this one's probably not super high on my TBR, even though I enjoyed both of the other books in the Letters of Enchantment series. I think I don't necessarily need this book, so it's not one that I'm like rushing to pick up. I will read it eventually, but it's not going to be as high up my list as many of the other ones that are coming further in this video. This next book comes out on the 9th of September, and I will be sat. I think this is probably the book I'm most excited for the month, and that is Wild Card by Elsie Silver. I'm so excited. She can do no wrong. I think she is the queen of banter, the queen of romance. She writes the most incredible like male and female characters that I'm just rooting for. This one looks like it's shaping up to be really good. So our main male character is Sebastian Russo, and he's like a grumpy fire pilot. The female character, this is her ex-boyfriend's dad, so this is very much like forbidden romance, forbidden attraction. They can't ignore the chemistry. I love the cover. I think that all of these books look so incredible on a bookshelf. I am just so excited to be able to pick this one up. I also really like anything to do with like firefighters, fire pilots, like all of that kind of world. I find it really interesting because I guess it adds a layer of like risk and like fear and like things that can go wrong. So I'm really excited for this one. I've absolutely been obsessed with the rest of the series. I read the last book so quickly, gobbled that up, and it's like one of my favorite things is to pin on Pinterest these books. So that one would be like a 5 out of 5 on the anticipation scale of excitement. This next book on my list also comes out on September 9th, and it's People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. Now this is an author that's quite new to me this year. I hadn't read her before, but I think she's fast becoming a must-read author. Like if she releases it, I'll pick it up. The cover for this is stunning. I'm so obsessed with the cover alone. If I didn't even know who the author was, this book would be picked up off the shelf. But this book is going to be, I'm definitely going to be reading this in the month of September. I'm so excited. It is about our female character. Her name is Prudence Welch. She has a quiet life, she lives in a small town and she meets our main male character, and he is like a very free-spirited, drives a beat-up van guy, and his name is Milo, and he is said to have like a reckless charm, so we can kind of all sort of picture what that kind of person is. And he awakens something in her that she kind of can't ignore, and we get to see them go on a journey, and that like we get to see them deepen their love connection. So I'm really excited for this. I think the cover looks beautiful. I feel like the setting is going to be stunning. I think Hannah Bonham Young writes really like emotionally charged stories that feel really like rich, and I don't know, I think like every time I've read one of hers I've just been left like smiling and happy, but I feel like the characters have got so much depth to them. So I'm really excited for this one. I find it quite interesting that already sitting on Goodreads, it's sitting in like a 3.97, which that just means that the people that have had like the ARC copies maybe haven't rated it as high, which I find really interesting, because typically when it's like a must-read author like that, I'm thinking of like your Taylor Jenkins Reid's and your Emily Henry, like when all those ARCs go out they tend to be sitting quite high in like the 4.5, so I'm intrigued by that. I can see a 4 and then a 2 and then a 1 and then a 5 and then a 1 and then a 5 and then a 4. Very mixed reviews. I'm hoping that because this is the kind of author for me that like I'm gonna like it, so I'm really excited for that one. Now this next book comes out on the 16th of September, and it is The Summer War by Naomi Novik. Now I've read quite a few of Naomi's books. I've read The Deadly Shalomance, I've read Uprooted years ago, I've still got Spinning Silver on my TBR. I really need to read that. But she is usually a must-read author because she writes really good fantasy. So this is a fantasy novella. When I'm looking at the like little genre tags, it's got witches and short stories. So I think that's quite interesting. What the premise of the book is it says, when a young witch, Cecilia, accidentally curses her brother to live without love, she spends years searching for a way to undo her mistake. As the war is raging between the mortals and the immortal summerlings, Cecilia must confront ancient grudges, family bonds, and her own growing power to break the curse and heal a fractured land. And that sounds right up my alley. Cursed her brother, gotta fix it, gotta deal with all the carnage going on in the world, and I'm really excited. So that one's probably, I might not get to it in the month of September just because there's so many other books coming up on my anticipated reads, but I definitely think that I will have read this before the end of the year. So I'm really looking forward to this one as well. Okay, this next book comes out on the 16th of September, and it is The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand. Now, this is a new author to me. I know it's not a new author to everyone. I read one of her books earlier this year, and I definitely want to pick up more of them because I thought that the way that the characters were done was really great. This book sounds like Gossip Girl, and the cover looks like something that I would have read when I was in high school, and I mean that with the utmost respect. This is the kind of book that 16-year-old me would have seen at the library and immediately grabbed it off the shelf. I like weirdly love the like millennial feel to this cover. This book is about an academy called Tiffin Academy, and it's been skyrocketed to the #2 academy in the country. Of course, when you have schools like this, behind the glossy image there's always sort of like secrets and like scandal and things like that. So basically an app is created, and this mysterious app begins like exposing everyone's secrets, and it's exposing students' secrets, it's exposing teachers' secrets, other staff's secrets. Basically no one at Tiffin Academy is safe from the chaos, and this sounds like such a good, perfect read. It's giving sort of like autumnal vibes because the cover feels very autumnal, and all of her books I believe are set in New England, so that's like the autumnal capital. So I'm really excited for this one. I think that this will be a nice one in between many of the fantasies that I want to pick up next month to like help cleanse the palette. Okay, we're getting later in the month now. This next book comes out on the 23rd of September, and this is Tourist Season by Bryn Weaver. So this is for you like dark romance, and I mean dark because if you've read her other series, it's serial killers, and this is no different. This is the first book in a new series, and it's going to be called the Seasons of Carnage trilogy. The setting for the book is Cape Carnage, and we have these two characters, and we have Harper, and she buries her problems literally buries them under the flower beds. And then we have a vengeful tourist, Nolan, and he does not bury his problems, he just leaves his bodies out and about. Their paths collide and they have to form a deadly truce. It sounds like they're just on a killing spree in this little tourist town, and I think they're gonna buddy up and kill together. And the tagline is "Love is the most dangerous weapon of all." Do you know what? It's ridiculous, and I'll read it. Although, to be fair, of the Butcher and Blackbird trilogies, I've only read the first one. No, sorry, of the Ruinous Love trilogy, I've only read Butcher and Blackbird. I would like to read Leather and Lark and Scythe and Sparrow, because I've heard Scythe and Sparrow is better than Leather and Lark, but I think I saw too many reviews of people not liking Leather and Lark and it put me off. But anyway, I've digressed. But Taurus season coming out on the 23rd of September, probably not super high on my pickup list, unless I see it get the treatment that some other books get on BookTok, where I just start seeing all of these like fan edits and then I'm like, I'm off, I'm reading it. So might pick it up in the month of September. We'll probably have read it by the end of the year. This next book coming out on the 23rd of September I know is extremely highly anticipated, and it's highly anticipated for me as well, and that is Alchemized by Sen Lin Yu. Now this started from fanfic Manacled, which I know lots of people have read. I'm not one of them. I have picked it up and I really loved it, and then I saw that it was been traditionally published and like re-edited and all that kind of stuff and turned into Alchemized, and I thought I'm just gonna wait because then I can listen to the audiobook because I love audiobooks. But I'm assuming that it has been switched. Like, we obviously can't directly reference the characters from Harry Potter, so I'm assuming like all the names have been changed and stuff because we do not have the rights to that. So when I'm reading the blurb, it says we've got a promising alchemist, Helena Marino, and she's a prisoner, and she's a prisoner in a world that is ruled by corrupt guild and necromancers, and she's got no memory of the Resistance's final days. And I have read those first few chapters of Manacled, so I know that's Hermione. She's sent to the ruthless High Reeve to unlock what she has basically forgotten, and she kind of needs to uncover the truth before her mind destroys her so that the Resistance can resist. I don't know. I don't know if, like, I really want to read this. It's probably one of the things that I'm going to pick up like day one when it comes out. I'm going to make sure I get it. I'm like, should I be reading Manacled first? Like, should I read Manacled over this? It's so tricky because I've just, Kindle, I've been reading all the young dudes, which I never thought that at 35 years old I would be picking up fan fiction. I used to read it when I was younger, don't get me wrong, I was a Wattpad girl through and through. I cannot even like put into words the amount of joy this book is giving me. Like, I'm only 10% in. I've been reading it for weeks. It's huge and it feels canon. Like, I'm reading it and I'm thinking like, yeah, this is real, this definitely happened. This is 100% the backstory of all these characters. Like, you can't tell me it's not. So I think I'm torn on if I read this because I know it's been like edited and it's changed enough that I'm not going to connect it to the world of Harry Potter, or do I go back and read the fanfic Manacled because it's connected to Harry Potter? Can you see how this would be a real crisis of conscience? I really don't know the right way to do it. I really just want someone to tell me. But Alchemized, September 23rd, I think the cover is stunning. It's given like Handmaid's Tale, but like, I was gonna say make it scary. Handmaid's Tale is scary. A Handmaid's Tale, but like make it gothic is almost what it feels like. I don't know. I'm quite intrigued by this one. Okay, this next one is coming out also on September 23rd, and it is Bad for Business by Kat Singleton, and this is the Pembroke Hills book 2. How good is this cover? I think the covers for these are so cute. We've got a publicist and her name is Olivia. Her biggest career move is all surrounding being a fixer, which I love these books when you have this, like, she's a baddie, you know, she's just got her shit together, and she has to like fix the party boy who's probably got a lot more substance to him, but his name is Riker Davenport, and he's an arrogant heir, and he's got this reputation as being like reckless and being irresistible. Chef's kiss, I'm in already. They are at the Hamptons for the summer together and they're just bickering constantly, and bickering starts to teeter into that land of desire. Soon Olivia, she kind of has to make that decision if Riker is anything more to her than just a client. And I love this because I ate that first book up. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed meeting Riker in the first book, and I do remember thinking like, oh, I'd love to, you know, I'd love to know his story. I'd love to see him find someone to settle down with. So I'm really excited that he's going to get to have somebody who fights for him, I guess. Yeah, I really like Kat Singleton. I think she writes like really just fun, easy, I call them like my lollipop reads. She writes like romances that I can just gobble up, and I can usually finish them in a day and then just be happy. So that's coming out September 23rd. This next one is also coming out September 23rd. What a giant week this is going to be. And this is the Blood and Ash, book 6, The Primal of Blood and Bone. And I think that's penultimate. Is it last? Hold up. Second to last. Okay, penultimate. So this is the second to last book in the series. I have such mixed feelings about this because the other series that I was reading was the most, and now I need to look it up because I'm a girl who does not remember anything. Oh, Flesh and Fire. So the Flesh and Fire series, I love that I'm going to talk about this when I'm supposed to be talking about Blood and Ash, but Flesh and Fire series had 4 books, but then it had like a whole bunch of like 1.5 and 2.5 and all that kind of stuff. And it was the most disappointing ending to a series I think I've ever had. And the thing is, it started so high. Like book 1 was a 5, book 2 was a 5, book 3 was a 4, and then book 4 was 2 stars for me. So I've got really mixed feelings about the Primal of Blood and Bone because I want to be like a day one girly. I want to pick it up day one. I want to devour it because I am obsessed with Poppy and Castile. Like, I have been waiting for this book for so long, but then I read the Flesh and Fire book, book 4, and I just thought, oh, it didn't stick the landing at all. And I'm so scared for what is to come because we're just like, in this world, there's so many enemies, there's so many ancient powers, everything's a threat at all the times, and these two are just like bound by their love, bound by their destiny. They are just like, it's like them against the world, and basically they're on the path for either salvation or destruction of themselves and of the realm. I want to love this. I have got such high hopes for this book, but if it does not stick the landing, I'm going to riot. I feel like I've been reading these for years. When did the first one come out? 2020. Okay, it's not that long. It's not that long. But to be fair, COVID times, they feel part like so long, and then like, where did the time go? So, okay, I haven't been reading it for years, guys. But I just need it to be good. How's it gonna say penultimate, but then I can't see book 7 anywhere? I don't know. Now, also coming out September 23rd, I'm gonna have to take a day off. September 23rd, we have The Heartbreak Hotel by Ellen O. Clover. And this cover is gorgeous. Now, this is not an author I've read before, but I've seen this come up on a few lists. I've seen it come up, a few people I know have read The Ark and they've rated it quite highly, so it definitely seems like a book up my alley because it's like a contemporary romance. I think it's leading more into like into adult fiction, where it's like a lot of like my contemporary romances that I tend to read are more like new adult. This is about a girl named Louisa, and she's just been through a breakup, and she sort of leaves her mountain home because she's unable to afford the home anymore post breakup, and she convinces a reclusive landlord, Henry Rhodes, great name, 2 reclusive landlord, yes, and she convinces the landlord of the house that she's now staying at to turn the home into a bed and breakfast. The comeback in is filled with heartbroken guests, and Lou and Henry, they navigate their attraction to each other. There's some hidden secrets, of course there is. I know there's going to be miscommunication. I guess they're going to fall in love along the way, and that just sounds so sweet. But like, I love the idea of people running a bed and breakfast, and like people that are heartbroken going to the bed and breakfast. How good is that? And also, the other thing that I love is that these characters are in their 30s. I guess that's the difference between like new adult, where you get like college age and sometimes high school, and you get like more adults, because that's something I love about like Mariana Zapata's books, is that she always writes about proper adults like me in their 30s. So I think this one is gonna be, I'm hoping like that little sneaky surprise that like it's on my radar, and then yeah. Now this next book is on my radar, might not be on many other people's radars, and this is coming out on the 24th of September, in a one-day reprieve, and that is Rising Rain by Tessa Hale, and this is the Wolves of Crescent Creek book 3. Now there is no synopsis anywhere, there's nothing to tell us what this book is about. Right now all I can see is that there is a release date of the 24th, and Tessa Hale is a must-read author for me. She reads paranormal fantasy romances that are usually reverse harem, everything she reads hits. Does become quite repetitive because I'm in the middle of reading 2 of her series that are being released alternating. Like I get like book 2 of that one, and then I get book 2 of that one, and then I get book 3 of that one, and then I get book 3 of this one, and I am confusing them. So maybe I shouldn't do that, but I will pick this up. I will read this one when it comes out on September 24th. This might be my second most anticipated book of the month after Elsie Silver, and that is Soul Searching by Lila Sage, and this is the Sweetwater Peak book 1. We're getting a whole new series from this author. This cover, unreal. If I could only say one positive thing about Lila Sage, is that her covers are probably the most incredible romance covers in the game. Like, whoever her cover designer is, she's cracked it. He or she has cracked it, because it is he, she, or they have cracked it, because they're incredible. They look so good. In this one, oh, I don't even care what it's about. I'm going to read it. But we've got Collins Cartwright, and Collins Cartwright returns to Sweetwater Peak to save her family's antique shop. What? And she finds herself living above a haunted upholsterer's store. It's so good already. I don't care about the rest. As ghosts meddle, secrets sort of begin to unravel. We've got Collins, who's living above the ghost store, and Brady, and they discover that their temporary arrangement might just lead to something more, and that might be eerily permanent. I'm not normally one for a paranormal romance, but I trust Lila Sage, so I'm gonna go in. Her last series was all like cowboy romance, and they all had like really good tropes, so I do feel like she is a great author, and Lila I trust. The last book coming out for the month of September on September 30th is Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. Again, Hannah Grace is an author that is a must-read author for me. She has written some characters that I think like I've never been more seen in a book than one of her books. So I'm super excited to read this. So in this book, Holiday Ever After, which the fact that we're getting books leading up to Christmas is not computing with my brain. Like, I know it for me right now, it's like August. I am wearing a jumper because today's a little bit colder, but like literally yesterday we had a 31-degree day. So I'm not necessarily ready to read about Christmas yet, but also in the UK, it can take a turn like that. Like we could be cold and rainy for like weeks on end, and I'll be like, Summer, where did you go? I digress. This book is about Clara Davenport. She's been sent to Fraser Falls to fix her family company's PR disaster. The locals, especially Jack Kelly, enter main male character, they're not buying it, and he is especially not buying it. And she pretty much has to work to charm the town. Oh, this is giving Hallmark movie. Clara discovers that trying to win Jack over might be the hardest thing of all, but will be her most rewarding challenge yet. Yes, I will absolutely read this. Honestly, I wish I could be the person that people employ to be like, make this book into a movie. This book will definitely be a great movie, because I've got some notes, okay? And I would like all of my books to be made into movies. That being said, the book girlies are about to feast, because so many books are being made into movies, TV shows. I'm so excited. Okay, so I've just talked to you about 14 new releases and my anticipated releases. I probably still miss some. There's probably things that are going to pop up and I'm going to think, how did I miss that coming out in September? Because it happens every single month, and I'm definitely not going to get through all 14 of those books. I do have a few other books that are on my TBR already, but my TBR is quite like loosely made, especially for the month of September. I'm back into full-time teaching in September. I just don't have the time like I have in August and in other months of the year. Like September is probably going to be like my hardest, probably my slowest reading month. So anything I have on my list is purely suggestive as a reminder to myself of like the things that I want to finish. So the first book I have on my list is A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. Now, I have seen this come up so many times on people's videos, and every single time I see it come up, I think, oh, I need to read that. I need to read that. I need to read that. I'm putting it on my TBR just as a reminder that I want to read it. It is 608 pages, like it's huge. And I've heard that it will wreck me, and like maybe I'm ready for that. Maybe I'm ready for that this next month. So I would like to pick that up. I have been told to pick up I think is it like the anniversary edition? I think it's got like extra parts to it, and that's apparently worth it. For someone who loves talking about books, sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. The next book that is on my TBR is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. And this is the Crowns of Nyaxia book 3. Now, I absolutely loved book 1 and 2, and I didn't realize that 3 was going to transition to a different character. And it kind of reminds me of like how Bridge Kingdom did that. We had like Bridge Kingdom, we had our 2 main characters and we followed them for 2 books, and then we followed 2 other characters for 2 books, and now we've got another 2 characters we're following. I do know that I like that when I'm in it, but I have been reluctant to pick this up because I'm not as invested in the character that we're about to have. I'm sure I'm going to be invested within like 30 minutes of reading, but this one's been on my TBR for quite a while, but I really want to keep going with it because I think book 4 has just been released, and I really don't like getting too far behind on series because my brain will just decide that we're never picking it up again. Next one on my list is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This doesn't have the highest rating on Goodreads, which I think is why I haven't picked it up in the past, but I've seen a few booktubers that I follow recently just really rave about it and say that they wish they could read it for the first time again, that they absolutely adore the series, and they typically rate books similar to what I rate the same books, if that makes sense. So we've obviously got like similar tastes. And so I think like, well, if they're raving about it, then I'm probably gonna like it. So I would like to pick up Belladonna and just give it a go and see if I would like it. I'm not typically into like the gothic type books. I do love a fantasy romance, and I don't mind if something's directed more YA, so I think I would like to pick this up. I know it's got paranormal aspects to it as well, and that's normally like hit or miss for me. It'll be interesting to see if I pick it up for the month, but it'll be interesting to know what I think of it. The next book I want to keep going with is the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and I want to read book 3, which is the Dungeon Anarchist's Cookbook. Now, if I could only convince you to read one book that I talk about in this video, it is to pick up the audiobook for Dungeon Crawler Carl. It is the greatest listening experience you can have as a reader. If you are someone who likes gaming and likes reading, this is for you. It's so good. My husband had heard about it from a podcast, and he picked it as a book club book, and he made my sister, me, and himself read it, and all 3 of us were like 5 stars. Where have you pulled this from, Mike? This is so good. And then we read the second book. I think Mike's read the 3rd book. I don't think Kayla and I have read the 3rd book yet. So I would like to keep going with that because there's 7 in total, and the ratings on them just keep going up. Like from what I've heard, they just get better and better. A friend of mine, I think she's read up to the 5th one, and she started it way after us. Like we told her about it and she's off. So I'm like, I need to catch up because I really, really enjoy that series. So that's on my TBR. High Hopes. That's like a really good book for me to listen to while I'm driving to and from work because it is so good for turning my brain off because I just sit there laughing, and sometimes you need that. And the next book that I would like to read is Thrive by Krista Ritchie and Becca Ritchie, and this is the Addicted book 4, and I'm reading them in, I've got this open on my computer. I'm reading them in the recommended reading order where you read the Addicted series alongside the like Callaway series. And so like I read Addicted to You, then Ricochet, and then Addicted for Now, and then Kiss the Sky, and then Hothouse Flower, and then I go back into Addicted to read Thrive. And so there's 10 in total when you pair those 2 series together, and I'm working my way through those now, and I'm enjoying it. It's been on my Notion as my like one of my goals for the years to finish this series. So that is what I'm aiming to do. So I read 2 of them this month, and ideally I'd like to keep going with 2 next month, but because September has got so many good books coming out, I decided like I'll just put 1 because it might be a little bit unrealistic for me to think I'm going to get through 2. In theory, I should read it this month, but I won't. The next book is another book that is in a series that I'm determined to finish this year because I picked it up last year, and I'm gonna shame myself here, but I track everything on my Goodreads, and I have a shelf called Series to Finish, which pretty much means I've read at least the 1st book in the series and I would like to keep going, and there are 113 books shelved, which means that I'm in the middle of 113 series. And I love a new shiny book, and that really is the downfall of my life. Anyway, I would like to read The Do-Over by T.L. Swan, which is Miles High Club book 4, and I'm really, really excited for this one. It took me ages to read the 3rd one. I read it this month and I forced myself to read it and I loved it. I just don't know what's wrong with my brain. I loved it. I've been trying to get to the fourth one because I remember my sister telling me about the fourth one and I remember thinking, I need to read that. That sounds perfect. That sounds like my ideal book. There's 5 altogether. So they are quite big. 553 pages for a romance, I think is quite big, but I want to get that done. So I'm excited that I'm finally up to the fourth one, and that's going to be like my reward next month, is that I finally get to read this one that I've been waiting for. And finally, on the theme of finishing series, I'm going to read The Plated Prisoner, book 6, which is Goldfinch by Raven Kennedy. 688 pages. I always have big book fear. I avoid big books at all costs because my brain is like, well, instead of reading this giant book, I could read 2 little ones. That's way cooler. But I need to finish this. I enjoyed book 5. It did feel a little bit like a slog. It took me quite a bit to get back into. I just was kind of like, I just don't really care. Like every single time we think things are about to pan out, they don't, and I'm kind of over that narrative. But this is the last book in the series, and so I think that we've kind of hit the point where we're like, oh, you're the bad guy. And so like I feel like you were building up, and it's like, you're bad. Oh, it's you're bad. So I'm excited that I get to like tick this series off, because again, I had, I think, 4 series on my like 2025 series I need to finish. No, I had 5 of them, sorry. I had the Calloway Sisters Addicted, which I'm working on. I had Miles High Club, which I'm working on. I had Plated Prisoner, which I'm working on. And then I had Magnolia Parks, which I've decided to just walk away from for now, because I'm not in a headspace where I feel like reading toxic romance. And The Folk of the Air, which I finished that series. So I'm getting there. I'm really excited. I think the month of September has got some really cool books coming out. I love talking about books. I love going to my book club and talking about books and drinking cocktails. I love my little WhatsApp group of girls where we talk about books and talk about life. I love my FaceTime calls with my sister where we talk about books. I could talk about books all day long. I absolutely love books. I love everything about the escapism. I love that I put my little headphones in. I can like lay on my bed or clean my room, or I don't know, color in or whatever, and I can see the movie playing out in my head, and I just think like, I can't imagine not having such a crazy love of reading and being able to share that with people. So let me know if any of those books spark your interest, if any of them are on your TBR, or what is on your TBR, because I love to be influenced and I also love to be de-influenced. So if any of these books you've already read and you're like, nah, walk away, let me know, because my TBR is always too big. I've loved talking about books today, and have a great day.